Hey there friends, how's it going? Today we're doing something a little bit different. A while back I went down a rabbit hole of Steven Seagal and what I uncovered blew my mind. Like, there is so much about this dude that is just plain weird. So I guess I'll start on him as an actor and kind of what he's about in case you've never heard of him, but we'll get into the very strange stuff after that. Like, I wish his website would break it down a bit, but even that doesn't really help. Although it does say he was honored as the first private citizen to destroy a nuclear device. Great website, by the way, Steven. I love it. Although, Steven, Flash Player doesn't work anymore, and I really want to know what videos you had uploaded there. And much like yourself, your website is listed as not secure. So if you could please fix that, that would be great. So to be totally upfront, there is a lot of really bad accusations against Steven Seagal. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but I don't care about him enough to really look it up. So if it starts as Steven Seagal and ends up as Steven Seagal, don't blame me. And weirdly enough, he's like a massive Putin supporter, which is kind of weird because he's like this older kind of action hero. I say that in quotes because this is what his action looks like. Yesterday, I was doing some prep work and the top search result, the autofill, when you put in Steven Seagal, was running. And now I kind of get it. We need a martial artist for our action film, but we need him to run like Phoebe from Friends. Who could we call? I'm just gonna put him running here while I talk a little bit more. But now I really want to get into the nitty gritty of all these weird stories and things he's done. Because honestly, much like Steven Seagal here, he is running from his problems at all times. Because you'd think a big action star wouldn't have time to do anything else other than his movies and running. But Steven Seagal does it all. What's that saying? Jack of all trades, but like someone who's bad at all of them as well, like a Kevin of all trades or something. He's involved in therapeutic oil products. He's involved in energy drinks, which actually I want to show you real quick the advertisement for it because I don't understand what's going on.
Hey there. We want to tell you about Steven Seagal's new energy drink. It's called Lightning Bolt.
So off to a great start when you don't even have Steven Seagal. You have some guy talking about Steven Seagal who's trying to do an impression of Steven Seagal and like not that great. But then again, I guess if it was a good impression, no one would understand what he's saying. Lightning bolt. Sorry, Steven, could we get that again? I have no idea anything you just said. You know what, Steven, forget it. I'll do it myself.
It's 100% natural and it tastes just great. In fact, it's so good, he likes swimming in it.
So then we get this,
going, baby?
Which is just really awkward, and look at him. I'm so excited. I can't believe we actually got the Steven Seagal into our advert to promote the product. This is gonna sell. This is gonna be huge. And he's such an action hero. What could we get him to do? Maybe a backflip, or maybe he could beat up some bad... He should sit in a chair awkwardly like this.
I really wanted to swim in Steven Seagal's lightning bolt with you.
Yeah, but you know I love doing it because I love you.
I love you too, baby.
Pardon me, 1 second. All right, sorry, just a bit of a natural reaction to that.
Everybody just see that?
Yeah, and then that happens. Yeah, I don't get it either. Then I think he like gave her acting tips because she comes back up and I just have no idea what she's saying.
I forgot one. I found it at the bottom of the pool.
Lightning Bolt comes in 2 delicious flavors. Asian Experience and Cherry Charge.
Hey, could you pass me a soda? Sure, what flavor do you want? I don't know, cherry, cola, anything's fine. I only have Asian Experience. I also love watching like little interviews and whatnot because I don't even know how old he is. What, like 107 or something? It came up 1982, but that's the year he started acting. I was like, oh my god, he's aged poorly. So he's 70 years young and he has a horrible problem in interviews thinking that he's still like the most dangerous man in the world, and anyone else like Van Damme or Chuck Norris, you know, people of his era, are all just garbage. Only he is good. Like here when an interviewer asked him, is he still dangerous?
You still dangerous?
Although in his defense, he didn't really say yes. He could have been thinking about like a nice dessert he had. All he did was There's also this other clip where an interviewer kept asking him about other martial artists in film, and he kept saying, can I laugh in your face, anytime he brought up like literally anyone.
Thoughts on Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Can I laugh in your face?
Also, on his website, I don't know what this is about, because this really feels like it's him writing it and his updates. But at the end of this, it says, I agree. G Stone was right. Jean-Claude Van Damme would F me up. And there is no way he would say that. So I'm a little bit confused who is managing this website for him. He had a reality show. He does music. He was involved promoting crypto. And then getting involved and getting sued for not disclosing that he was promoting crypto. The crypto one is especially confusing to me because he was paid like $250,000 and then $750,000. Yeah, that's how much weight Steven Seagal has these days apparently in crypto. Can you imagine someone going, I wasn't going to get involved in crypto, but if Steven Seagal thinks it's a good investment, I'm in. And he never admitted to it, but he agreed to pay a $157,000 fine. And at that point, that's not even a punishment. That's just a tax on your earnings. I'd like to show you a bit of the VHS movies that he was in because they're hilarious for all the wrong reasons. We'll go into more about him afterwards, but I felt it was a good place to start.
This whole thing, it's just a mess.
After a few years of being an action hero, the Monopoly man said, go directly to VHS, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Or maybe do collect $200. Maybe that was his fee for the entire film, I don't know. This is him fighting from a chair as an action hero, and there are many instances of this. I've gone through and watched a few clips, and there are so many scenes where he's just sitting down, not moving.
You and your men still near Point Bed? Yeah.
I have no idea what he's saying. Like when you get to the point where your lead star is just incoherent, you can't understand what he's saying, and he refuses to stand up. At what point do you just go, maybe we should get someone else? I am looking through so many clips trying to find him in action in some of these new movies, and every time I find him, he is sitting down.
Yeah, when are you gonna stand up?
Right now.
Oh, he's standing up. Oh, it caught. But he's standing up in this next scene as well. That's pretty cool. He's exhausted from just walking outside now.
You still sore about that $50?
Are you really as good as they all say you are?
The guy stands up once and someone immediately comes over like, oh my god, are you really as good as they all say you are? I'd like to think of all the people watching and at home watching the movie and seeing him stand up and just going, whoa, oh my god, we paid for an action film and we got it. Who says the bargain bin is all bad movies? I think one of the funniest stories regarding Steven Seagal and his acting is when he decided at one point, mid-action film, that killing people on screen is bad.
Steven Seagal has had a spiritual awakening. He decided that he doesn't want to kill people anymore in movies.
So the actor, who's also called Steven, had to convince Steven to kill him and seem like it was a favor that he was doing this character for killing him because the character was a serial killer.
And it would really help me in terms of my reincarnational development if you could kill me.
And he eventually managed to convince him, and he shot him. And everyone on set must have been like, oh, thank God. Okay, we got that part done because it was a big part in the movie. We had to get that part. But then the problem continues.
Steven started ad-libbing in the rest of the film how he's glad he didn't kill the guy in the church.
So they had this scene already done where he killed him, and then randomly during the movie he just starts saying, I'm so glad I didn't kill that guy, by the way, in the church, you know, he didn't die, which is super cool of me. So the director had to ask the actor who was shot to try and yell something out as if he didn't die at all.
It's just a flesh wound. Finish me off, you son of a...
But of course, Steven doesn't just act in action. He's a very versatile actor, actually. He even hosted Saturday Night Live once. And so what if the executive producer and many of the cast regard him as the worst host ever? He refused to do one of the sketches because one of the fictional characters in the sketches had previously said they could beat up Steven Seagal. But it's such a loss for comedy. His comedic acting is so good.
I caught these two guys with 3 kilos of cocaine. What do you think they were doing with them? Making chalk for girls' softball games.
Yeah, I don't really know what he was saying either, but I'm enjoying it. I'm laughing, and that's what comedy's all about. I actually asked my lawyer to pitch in here a bit because he knows a bit more about this scenario.
He goes, if I do it, I have to beat them up.
So all his bits just ended with him just throwing people around the place.
This is what happens when you pollute the planet.
So yeah, that was comedy. And then just makes direct eye contact with the camera and is like, this is what happens when you destroy the planet. Steven Seagal just walks into the boardroom and starts flipping people. I love the awkward silence afterwards. The audience don't even know how to react. So I guess at this point, you're kind of understanding that Steven Seagal is kind of serious about himself. He doesn't like humor being pointed towards him, and he genuinely thinks he's one of the most talented martial artists to ever exist.
You still fight?
Yes, I do.
You still dangerous?
But don't worry, I have video footage that proves that he's still a badass. Like, look at this. He's fighting multiple people at once, and they're definitely trying their best, and they're not just falling down. They're not. He's really cool and strong. Look at that. They can't touch him. And if they do, they get the Seagal. I like how everyone that runs at him just looks like they're embracing him for a hug. And I know what you're thinking. These vicious attackers might have just got unlucky. Maybe this was a one-time thing. Maybe 9 times out of 10 they beat him. But no, there's more. Look at this. No matter how hard you train, you will never beat an overweight old man. As long as you're fighting like this anyway. That guy was just confused. He's just like, oh god, Steven Seagal is holding my hand, what do I do? And then Steven Seagal punches him in the face. You know the old saying, if you gently fall on the ground, you get back and just gently fall on the ground again. There you go, defeated. This guy's amazing. I once got in a fight and I tried to defend myself against a bunch of guys with Aikido that I learned from Mr. Seagal. Long story short, they beat the absolute crap out of me. The video was cut. At the end, he expanded his arms and started levitation while people were praying in tears, and he left the stadium through the ceiling. Very touching moment. In fact, his fighting is so good, he can slap even trained MMA fighters. Look at him go. Hawaiian shirt or not, Steven Seagal is taking home the W. I love how midway through the clip you can hear someone go, oh my god, he's punking the shit out of him.
Oh, he's punking the shit out of him.
It's like if you had an MMA fight, someone was lightly getting slapped and the ref is like, no, call it off. That's too many slaps. Now, I don't know a lot about martial arts, but as far as I know, Aikido, I believe it's pronounced, is the martial art that he kind of specializes in. You know, it's real special. But from what I understand, he's actually really good at that type of martial art. It's just that it's not so effective when another martial artist is actually, you know, trying to hurt you. And I did find these clips of him showing moves to an actual UFC champion, one of the greatest of all times, Anderson Silva. The only problem with it was, after finding that, I immediately found a clip of them making fun of him afterwards. And he has a black belt in Aikido, but you know what he has too? A brown belt in bullshitting. He's almost equally good at the both of them, I think. I'd actually give him an edge on bullshitting. He's very good at it. But I think by far my favorite story about Steven Seagal fighting is when Gene LaBelle, an American martial artist, got in a little squabble with him on set because he was prone to fighting and making actual contact with the stuntmen and the other actors and actresses. He actually apparently broke Sean Connery's wrist as well. But he claimed in this altercation with Gene LaBelle that due to his Aikido training, he could not be knocked unconscious. LaBelle is said to have placed his arms around Seagal's neck, and once Seagal said go, proceeded to choke him unconscious, with Seagal losing control of his bowels. Sometimes Steven had a tendency to cheese off the wrong people, and you can get hurt doing that. And then when Steven was asked about it, he said, LaBelle is a sick, pathological scumbag liar. There's a funny story as well that apparently while he was working on a movie, I just think it's fantastic, a lot of the actors just didn't want to deal with him. He came in very bossy and being like, we do things my way, and then no one bothered warning him when he went to go out the door, and it was a set door that just opened into water, so he went out and just fell down, and for some reason his really natural hair started like leaking, but it's naturally, it was just a weird thing that happens sometimes, I guess. I don't know, I'm not a doctor. I just find it hilarious that he tried to be like this big tough guy and he ended up being something out of Looney Tunes, just walking straight out into the ocean. And of course, if you're the most talented martial artist to ever exist, at some point you have to get crime off the street, Steven. And he did just that with Steven Seagal. Lawman, his reality TV show. That's right, he's done it all.
That's right. Steven Seagal, Deputy Sheriff.
Look at him dressed up as a cop. Did he just attack that child? Like, I know that seemed playful, but that is exactly the way he fights. Oh my god, here he is in action. They're actually going on a bus. Okay, right away, these people don't look like cops. They don't even look like good cosplayers. Oh, but Steven's on his way in.
Get on the ground.
That was the most timid get on the ground I have ever heard. Like, imagine being busted by Steven Seagal like that.
Get on the ground.
I'm sorry, what? Oh, what did you say? I said, get on the ground, please. I'm sorry, I have no idea what you're saying. Are you Steven Seagal? How did you know? Was it the fact that I'm sitting down? Is it the chair that gave me away? The whole premise of this show is weird because Steven Seagal apparently claimed that he'd been a deputy for like 20 years odd and was doing this work in the background. He just doesn't talk about it, which is very believable given all we know about him already. But there was an LA Times article that... Sorry, this is just so bizarre to me because they go to say that the black and white photo that apparently showed him being sworn in as a deputy in the 1980s in fact showed the actor 20 years older. That would have been consistent with the claim. So he's like, yeah, I've been a deputy for about 20 years. Here's this photo we took yesterday of me being sworn in. I mean, from 20 years ago. I just look the same because I'm aging really well. The article notes that the Peace Officer Standards and Training Organization, which accredits police officers, had no record of Seagal being certified. Why even lie about it? It's so dumb. This is another one where Steven's doing a search and he's found something.
Marijuana. Marijuana, pura. Marijuana.
What? He thinks it's marijuana? Even the officers are confused.
I wouldn't sniff it, Chief.
The dirty look that Steven Seagal gave him after they told him not to do something when he'd already decided to do it. But why does he think it's marijuana when it's just like a liquid? He has no basis for this. He's just guessing. And does he know that it's not like a liquid? Like, you don't really find people with just a bottle full of marijuana. I'm starting to think the Steven Seagal guy isn't qualified to be part of law enforcement. From everything I've seen, it seems like Steven Seagal is just on a ride along. He's just sitting there watching for the most part, which is essentially what I'm doing. So am I a law enforcement officer now? I mean, I seem to have more knowledge than Steven does. Like, look at this. Wait, hold on. Wait, they already have him. Why is Steven getting on top of him now?
What, man?
Someone finally recognized him. Steven's like, this has literally never happened before. He's assuming everyone's just too polite to say anything.
I don't like you, but my wife love you.
And he doesn't even like him. Honestly, Steven probably thinks that's a crime in itself. Not liking Steven Seagal, that is life imprisonment. If not the chair, depending on where you live. Steven loves the chair. He loves all chairs. So I feel like you've gotten a decent idea of what Steven Seagal is like in his industry or industries. It's like he has his hands and feet in every sort of industry. Anything that he can kind of slither his way into, he's there. But I'd like to focus more on Steven Seagal the person now and take a look at him and what he's been up to, because it is a little bit strange. So in 2016, Steven Seagal got his Russian and Serbian citizenship, and he's a huge fan of Vladimir Putin.
You know, we'll talk later about the world, but...
Here is him eating carrots out of the ground in Belarus for some reason with their dictator. He's not doing himself any favors, you know. I was saying he was like something out of Looney Tunes earlier, and now he's just eating carrots out of the ground. They're both trying to figure out what a watermelon is, as you can see. They think something's inside it. The martial artist, of course, should be the one to open it and find out in case there's something dangerous in there. This video plus Steven Seagal running is pretty much all I need in my life. Never in a million years did I think I'd laugh at a guy eating a carrot. Please help me. I cannot stop watching this over and over. I don't like it or enjoy it. I just can't stop. It's funny because when you go to his personal life section in Wikipedia, it says Seagal has an extensive sword collection and at one time had a custom gun made for him once a month. And that's it. That's his personal life section done. That's all they had to say about him. And then you scroll down to the allegations and lawsuits, and it's just endless. It just keeps going. And in 2018, he was appointed Russia's special envoy to the US. While various media have cited Seagal and President Vladimir Putin as friends, and Seagal stated that he would like to consider Putin as a brother, Putin has distanced himself from Seagal. Peskov is reported to have said, "I wouldn't necessarily say he's a huge fan, but he's definitely seen some of his movies." I have to break it to you, if you've seen some of his movies, you're probably one of his biggest fans. But imagine that, imagine being someone and you're like, oh, this person is my brother, and they just happen to be the shittiest person alive, and they still don't want anything to do with you. I tried watching this BBC interview where he talks about it a bit. I was getting all excited because it felt just like one of his action movies with him sitting there. And then the reporter brought up harassment accusations.
And I wonder how you deal with all that.
But then he just got up and walked off. And he kind of forgot to unhook his mic. He was taking the chair with him. I mean, he does love his chairs, I suppose.
Good luck. And that you gonna have to see.
Yeah, don't worry, I have no idea what he said either. Not only can he not sing, he can't dance either. I also found an amazing clip of him doing the GTA San Andreas NPC dance.
Well, hey, let's dance, sugar.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see what you got.
Could be better.
Honestly, I've been doing this dance for years and he's just so much better at it than I am. It must be his martial arts background. Is there anything this man can't do? Yes, so much. And he will do it, whether you like it or not. And I guess we've covered most things now, but there is one elephant in the room. Yep, that's this chapter. I just, I kind of wanted to look at it for a bit. I don't know if you wanted to, but it's here. If you want to, I don't know, you can take a screenshot or something, or maybe take a picture with your phone of the screen just so you can look at it more. But yeah, that's this chapter. Thank you. So weirdly enough, after looking through all that, I find that Steven Seagal has inspired me to do something I have wanted to do for so long. I've always wanted to do a diss track, but I don't really want to be mean, so it kind of defeats the purpose of a diss track. But I found someone so awful that I feel fine doing it. I've written a diss track about Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal, or was it Seagal? Like, I could give a shit about a Putin pal. Oh, sorry, Steve, I don't have any class. Didn't mean to remind people that you pooped in your pants. It's kind of ironic that you choked on a joke, but then again, you always blowing smoke, you're kind of a joke. Your financial advice, it was not very nice, but just a slap on the wrist was kind of taking the piss. Show's worst host ever. It's kind of funny. When you're trying to be funny, you're not very funny. When you try and not be funny, you're pretty funny. In fact, you're most funny when you're running, because you're running is funny. I'll be honest, Steve, you could kick my ass. You're 70 years young and you're in Keto's advanced, but 30 guys all fall on the floor. There are so many plot holes I just cannot ignore. Okay, Mr. Seagal, if that is your real name, sit down. Or, oh wait, hold on. You already are sitting down. Okay, just stay there, sitting down. Yeah, I got a whole other verse to do anyway. Oh yeah. You've done a lot of shit, Steve. Steven Seagal! Lawman, could you kindly tell me if you got any plan to join Bugs Bunny and the rest of the gang? Come to think of it, I guess you're more of a dictator stan. Even if a dictator said he isn't a fan, do you think he just really, really likes Van Damme? Tell me, Steve, are you a dangerous man? Can I laugh in your face? Do you have any grace? Okay, Seagal, we're on deadly ground. I haven't looked yet, but there's more to be found. Out for justice, but I'll give you time to grieve. Do you feel under siege? I'm real sorry, Steve. Catch you later. This has been fun, but I gotta go watch Steven Seagal run. Store has an offer, it's 2 for 1. A dangerous man and into the sun. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, or I'll diss track you next. I just hope you have as much weird and wacky baggage as our friend Steven Seagal. I called him a friend. Gross. End the video.